For our session today, we will be having the measures of variability. Now, to start with, let's define first. What is measure of variability? It describes the set of scores in terms of their spread or heterogeneity. Meaning, it tells us whether how close the scores are or how far apart are they from each other. Meaning, unsa may pasabot ani, ang mga scores ba duol kaayo ang scores, meaning ang scores sikit ilang numbers, ilang scores, or lagyo ba ang ilang scores? So it will tell us whether the students have the same scores or the students have very different scores. This is what measures of variability is all about. Now consider these two groups. We have these scores. Group 1, 9, 5, and 1. For group 2, we have 5, 6, and 4. What have you noticed with the group 1 and the group 2 scores? Yes, kanang. Yes, Lugo, can you tell me with your observation? Group 1. Ang difference niya sa kuan is 4. Okay, what about from group 2? Okay, that's a very good observation. On group 1, the scores are far apart from each other. Okay? For group number 2, the scores are close with each other. So, what is the mean, by the way? What is the mean of group number 1? If you're gonna compute the mean and the median, let's start with the median first, kay masayon. What is the median of number 1? Unsa may tunga to? 5, correct. In group number 2, if you arrange 5, 6, and 4, what is the median? 5. Okay, take note. In group 1 and 2, the median is 5. What about the mean? Let's compute the mean. What's the mean here? 5 gihapon for group 1. What about group 2? Okay, so take note, the mean and the median for group 1 and 2 is 5. So using the mean and the median, you cannot tell how far the scores are from each other. Maunang, we will be using variability for this case. So let's have this one. So take note, the mean and the median are the same. They are both 5. But group 2, this group over here, has more homogeneous or similar scores than group 1, just like what your classmate has observed a while ago. Okay? Now, let's begin with this. Variability is the spread or dispersion of scores. Now, how do you measure variability? There are a few ways, but today we will be talking about 3 ways only. We have the range, the standard deviation, and the variance. So, kining range, we will start with this. Ang variance and ang standard deviation, we will have that together because the standard deviation depends upon the variance. So, let's begin with the range first. So, let's start with the range. It's the easiest measure of variability to calculate. Okay? Used when the measure of central tendency is the mode and the median. So if you're having mode and median, the appropriate variability measure there is the range. And how do you solve the range? It's so simple. You will simply get the difference of the highest and the lowest score. So our formula for the range is this. The highest score minus the lowest score. So look for the highest score, look for the lowest score, subtract the two, that's your range. In symbols, that's R is equal to HS minus LS. Highest score minus lowest score. Is our formula clear? Okay, let's continue further. I'm going to give you examples now. So let's have our first example. What is the range in the set of scores below? These are the set of scores now. You have there 7, 2, 7, 6, 5, 6, 2. What is the highest score? 7. What is the lowest score? Okay, very good. So I get it. Your classmates said 5 because they subtracted 7 and 2. The highest score is 7. The lowest score is 2. So therefore, the range is equal to 5. Okay? So it's very simple to compute. Look for the lowest score and the highest score. Subtract them. Let's have another example. We have here another set of scores. This one. You have there 17, 32, 27, 16, 15, 9, 32, 45, 20, 25, 56, 30, and 42. What is the highest score? 56. What is the lowest score? 9. Okay. What is... Okay, there you go. 56 minus 9 will give us 47. So therefore, the range is 47. Any questions about the range? Any questions about the range? Is this clear? Okay, very good. Now let's continue with another measure of variability. So we will go now with the variance and the standard deviation. Now let's define first what a variance is. So a variance is a measure of dispersion of a sample, or how closely the observations under cluster around the mean or the average, also known as the mean of the squared deviations. Now you will get to know the definition more on what the variance is as we go along with the computation. Okay? Now, standard deviation. This is the square root of the variance. So meaning, we need to solve the variance first, after which, get its square root, then that is the standard deviation. Now, this is a measure of variation in the observed values, or variation in the clustering around the mean. So, kining duha is nag-cluster around the mean. It focuses on the mean. Okay? Now, let's continue. This will be another definition. So, kung ang ato ang range, gamiton siya if ang gigamit nato kay median ug mode, ang standard deviation, this is used with the median. Okay? So take note, the standard deviation is used with the median. I mean mean. Sorry for that. That's mean. So again, correction, the standard deviation is used with the mean. The median and the mode, unsay gamiton basta median and mode ang atong reference? Range. Very good. So again, if you are having range, it's used with the mode and the median. If you're having standard deviation, it is used with the mean. Now, the standard deviation indicates the amount that all scores differ or deviate from the mean. Meaning, pila ang gilagyoon unsa kalayo sa score sa mean. Kay atong reference karon sa standard deviation will be the mean. Okay? Now, the more the scores differ from the mean, the higher the standard deviation. So meaning, kung ang scores nato layo kaayo sa atong mean, expect that your standard deviation is very, very high. If the scores are very close to the mean, meaning gamay ra ang difference niya sa mean, then expect a very low standard deviation. Okay? The sum of the deviations of the scores from the mean is always 0. Now, this will be our formula. Okay? This will be our formula. Let me change pen first. Okay. So this will be our formula for the variance over here. So S squared is the variance. This one is the formula for the standard deviation. So look at what's inside the square root sign. Diba? This is simply the variance. So whatever is your answer in the variance, get its square root. That is the sample standard deviation. Now, you already know what X is. This is given. These are the values of the observation in the population or in the sample. We have here mean of the sample and the total number of observations. Now, let us apply the formula over our first example. You and your friends have just measured the heights of your cats in millimeters. The heights at shoulder level are 150, 200, 250, and 280. So these are the values of the x's. Find the variance and the standard deviation. So what are you going to do here is simply write the x's in the first column. So in my case, I'm going to arrange this in increasing order. I'm going to start with what number? 150. Then next to 150 is 200. After 200, 250. After 250, 280. Now, sir, what should be in the second column? The second column is simply x minus the mean. But take note, is the mean given in our problem? No. So we need to solve the mean first. Unsa gyud yung formula sa mean nato? I-add tanan. So you have 150 plus 200 plus 250 plus 280. Pila may divisor? 4. So 880s. Correct. That's 880 divided by 4. How much is the mean? 220. So meaning, again, you cannot fill this up, this column over here, if you do not solve the mean first. So you need to have the mean. After getting the mean, let's subtract. What is 150 minus 220? Negative 70. What is 200 minus 220? Negative 20. What is 250 minus 220? That's positive 30. 280 minus 220. There you go, 60. Now, if you're gonna add 70, negative 20, and positive 30 and positive 60, how much do you get? 0. This was the concept a while ago. If you're gonna be adding the deviations, this is what you call the deviations. Kini, difference sa mean ug sa score. If you're gonna add all the deviations, the result is 0. So there is nothing wrong with our solution. This is totally correct because the sum of our deviation is 0. Now, what is the next thing to do? You square the deviations. Katong resulting nyo sa column number 2, kini siya, square these numbers. So what is negative 70 squared? Negative 70 times negative 70. Okay, that's 4,900. Again, how did I get this? I simply squared negative 70. Negative 70 times negative 70 will give us 4,900. What about negative 20 squared? 400. That's negative 20 times negative 20. What about 30 squared? 30 times 30, that's 900. What about 60 squared? That's 60 times 60, 3,600. Now, is the second and the third column clear? Okay, next thing to do, let's go to our formula. Do this one, the numerator. So you do the numerator, meaning I will be adding this, 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 and this one. Add all the square deviations. So what is 4,900 plus 400 plus 900 plus 3,600? That's 9,800. So let us now get the variance. The variance is simply this formula. So what is the denominator, the numerator equal to? What is the numerator equal to? This numerator over here, what is this equal to? 9,800. What is the value of n? 1, 2, 3, 4. What's the value of n? 4. So you have there 9,800 divided by 4 minus 1. And 4 minus 1 will give us 3. Dividing 9,800 by 3, you will get 3,266.67. So this is now our variance. Okay? Any questions about the... Yes. Again. When say X, what do you mean by X? Asaman ani. Kining second column. N minus 1 man siya. N minus, kini siya X, kini siya? Kini? Ay, na naman taan ni, pila man ni siya, kining giad. Giad naman ni nato tanan. Ang pasabot ani ha, look at this formula. I'm gonna be showing to you, okay. Kini siya nga symbol is the symbol for sum. Okay? So meaning, kining x minus the mean squared, kini siyang third column nato, we will be adding them because we are looking for the sum. Mo nang gi-add na ko si 4,900, si 400, si 900, o 3,600 to get 9,800. Mo nang atong denominator din ha. I am not using usara ka x. I have used all the x's. Gigamit na ko 4,900. Gigamit na ko 400, 900, 3,600 to get 9,800. Is that clarified now? Okay. Naana siya sa third column ha, kanang 9, kining 9,800 gikan ni siya sa sum sa third column. Okay? Then kining 4 gikan ni siya sa pila ka book datang given 1, 2, 3, 4. Now let's continue. So this is now our variance. Now, next let's have the standard deviation. The standard deviation is so simple. It's simply the square root of the variance. So, pila may variance nato? Sir, 3,266.66. So, pila may square root ani niya? Use your calculator, please. Pila yung square root sa 3,266.67? Okay, 57.15. You have there, the square root of the variance is 57.15. Is this correct? Pila may day sunod aning 5? Pila yung sunod ni 5? Again? Let me try to check. 3266.67. Oh, okay. So, our answer is simply 57.15. So, this is now our standard deviation. Any questions about example number 1 for standard deviation and variance? Section Ruby, is this clear? Okay, let's proceed to another example. So we have here, these are now the data of the number of television sets being sold by 10 appliance stores. So let's check. This is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So 10 appliance stores. And these are, again, the number of television sets nga na sold monthly. So, ang X nato diri, what is the smallest number there? 8. What is next to 8? Duha ka 10. What's next to 10? 12. Next to 12. 14 next to 14. 15 next to 15. 22 next to 22, 23 next to 23, duha ka 24. Now, what is the next thing that you're gonna do? You need to solve what? Mean. Very good. So, what is the sum of all these numbers? Kini 8, 10, 10, 12, 14, 15, 22, 23, 24, 24. What's the sum there? 162 divided by how much? Okay, 162 divided by 10, that will give us 16.2, right? So meaning, what is now 8 minus 16.2? 8.2. Negative 8.2. Do not forget the negative sign. 10 minus 16.2. Okay. 10 minus 16.2. That's still negative 6.2. What about 12 minus 16.2? Negative 4.2. What is 14 minus 16.2? Negative 2.2. What is 15 minus 16.2? Negative 1.2. What about 22 minus 16.2? 5.8. What is 23 minus 16.2? 6.8. What is 24 minus 16.2? 7.8. Same thing with that. Okay? Any questions about the second column? Is the second column clear? Okay. Next thing to do is what? What should be the next thing that you're going to do here? Square what? Square what? Okay, square na ko ang x minus the mean. Meaning, ang second column, akong i-square. So, what is negative 8.2 squared? 67.24. What about 6.2 squared? 38.44. Same thing with the third one. What about 4.2 squared? 17.64. What about 2.2 squared? 4.84. What about 1.2 squared? 1.44. 5.8 squared. 33.64. What about 6.8 squared? 46.24. And lastly, what is 7.8 squared? There you go, 60.84. What should be next nga atong buhaton? What should be done next? I-add tanang naa sa third column. So, pila man ni siya. I-add daw ni tanan ang nasa third column. How much do you get? Please. Because we are looking for the summation of their square deviations. Okay? So, pila man ni siya. Use your calculator. Let me verify that. 369.6. Okay? Now, let's now solve the variance. The formula for the variance is this. So, what is our numerator equal to? Okay, 369.6. What is n equal to? What is the value of n? 10. So, that's 10 minus 1. So, you'll be getting 9 for that. So 369.6 divided by 9 will give us 41.07. So that is now our variance. Okay? Now, let's compute the standard deviation. Let's get the square root of this one. The square root of 41.07 is simply 6.41. So this is your standard deviation.